So hello and welcome back, and in today's episode we are installing the exact same front tire that I have, but in a softer compound. So in last week's episode at Crankworks 2023, you would have seen the interview that I had with MaxxGrip, specifically about their rubber compounds. We talked predominantly about the MaxxTerra and MaxxGrip compounds. Now, when I built this bike, I built it very close to the original spec as a stock Transition Scout, and that included MaxxTerra front and rear tires in the Assegai front and DHR2 combo. Probably the most common, front rear tire combo that you'll see out there. However, throughout this season, I have noticed myself as my speed and confidence increases, and I'm wanting to get more and more over the front of the bike, of which my riding style is already pretty, far forward over the bike, just, sort of my influence from my BMX days. I found myself not entirely being able to trust this MaxxTerra compound, specifically in loose over hard pack situations. And the simple solution to that is going down to a MaxxGrip compound. Now, reasons why I might not want to do that, well, as mentioned in that interview, tire wear may be a factor. However, what I am noticing on the braking side, or the back side of the rear treads on the DHR2, are some signs and indications of wear, which makes sense. If you lock up your brake and you're skidding down a slope, that's exactly where it's going to wear out. However, inspecting the front tire, we can see that it is actually in great condition on both the braking and non-braking side of the lugs, and generally speaking overall is in better condition, meaning that the rear tire is wearing at a faster rate than the front tire. So by installing a softer compound in the front, I should be able to maintain a balanced wear ratio. Why am I not going to MaxxGrip in the rear? Well, as mentioned, I didn't really have any complaints about rear grip, and as we talked about in that interview, having a harder wearing compound like the MaxxTerra in the rear, especially if you're doing like long climbs, and more especially if you're doing long climbs on gravel roads as I do, then I think this is actually going to be a really good rear tire compound for me going forward, at least how I've been using this Transition Scout. One other factor of consideration is that I have always wanted to have a backup tire. I've been running the Exo Plus casing tires, and again, that was a decision born out of the stock configuration with the way that Transition specs this bike. I'm a fairly light rider, and quite frankly, I was kind of interested to see how Exo Plus was going to stand up against a lot of the shaly rock that we have out here in Alberta. It's definitely not like the coast with fresh loam. It's very rocky, very shaly. And honestly, I was pretty convinced that I was going to slice a sidewall by now, and I have not. So we have gone again with the Exo Plus casing on the new MaxxGrip. Now, one factor to consider was that the Assegai that I've been running as a front tire and that we have here as well was designed to be run as both a front or a rear tire, whereas say the DHR2 was R standing for rear. So that means by going to the MaxxGrip compound on the front, the MaxxTerra Assegai will become my spare tire. And this is actually a really good thing. So in the event that I do happen to damage a tire beyond repair, I can put the Assegai back on the front as I've been running all year, or if I happen to damage the sidewall casing of the DHR2, I can put that MaxxTerra compound Assegai in the rear until such time that I'm able to get a replacement DHR2, but that means that I still maintain that MaxxGrip front, MaxxTerra rear, or MaxxTerra right back in the front, still MaxxTerra in the rear. So I don't lose any of the climbing performance necessarily in terms of the compound, and I should be able to gain a bit more confidence with going with the grippier compound, the softer compound, faster wearing tire in the front, maintain even tire wear, and gain a spare tire all in the process. So I think it's a win-win-win situation. All right, so as we go through this, I'm actually going to take the opportunity to kind of showcase some of the unique products and features that I have on this bike. So I have been running the PD's Mark II valve stems. Unfortunately, at the time of building up this bike, they only had these ridiculously long stems. If you're in the market for some PD's Mark II valve stems, comment down below and I'll see what we can do. However, these valve stems have a really cool cap on them. So back here on the rear tire, this cap is actually a spoke wrench. And on the front tire, or whichever way that you happen to have it configured, as I do on the front, this valve cap is actually a valve core removal. So what we can do is we can bleed down the pressure out of the tire just by depressing the cylinder here in the presses. However, when it comes to filling back up the tire, we're going to be using the PD's, what's it called, the whole shot tubeless tire sealant. So this has like natural components in there. There's no microplastics. Gosh, that's so important. Again, if I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. You know, I love the sport of mountain biking, but we do use a lot of chemicals and that sort of thing. And anytime that we can cut down on our environmental impact, so whether that's use of, you know, no microplastics or, you know, natural ingredients, you know, all PD's products, or the majority I should say, are readily biodegradable. Just doing a quick read here on the back, it says biodegradable fibers and particles bind together with a fast acting latex to create a clot like platelets in your blood to quickly and effectively seal holes in tires up to 6 millimeters. Wow, that's actually really big. Packed full of biodegradable fibers and sealing particles to give a strong seal. So I'll let you refer to PD's site for more. This is biodegradable though. And what we're going to do is we're going to use this PD's Mark II valve cap to remove the core. And that way, when we're done the job, we can actually just fill our tire sealant into the tire through the actual valve stem, as opposed to having to dump it into the actual tire as we're, you know, trying to reassemble it and not slosh out any of the sealant. Also, I'll take this as a moment to also point out, I think PD's, like most manufacturers, really only guarantee sealant in their tires for like 6 months. So best practice would be to put in fresh sealant at the start of each season. And if you're doing any winter riding, you know, at the end of the season too as well. So just keep that in mind. All right, you joined me back in the studio for a good reason. So I was filming and the camera overheated, fine. And then I went to install it back into the tripod and the tripod mount exploded, because it wouldn't be an episode of the Grable Bike channel if we didn't experience some sort of technical difficulties. Nevertheless, we're back. In the meanwhile, I ended up removing the old, which will now be my backup front tire, and installing the new one. However, the tech failure is maybe not necessarily a bad thing, because that was an absolute nightmare. What ended up happening was, and to be fair, is essentially largely my fault, the old tire sealant, or the tire sealant I should say, was quite old. As I understand it, you get maybe about 6 months out of tire sealant, perhaps as little as 4, and I was well beyond that period. Truth be told, I thought that it still might have some functionality, but it was not. What ended up happening was the old sealant essentially acted as a glue. So, lesson learned. In fact, what I now know to do is, after I'm done this video, I'm going to be removing the rear tire just for purposes of cleaning out the old sealant and then adding in some PD's tire sealant. So where we're at right now is I have the valve core removed from my PD's valve stems. We are going to then use the Topeak Tubi Booster X to re-inflate and bead the tire back onto the rim. And I have this pumped up to its maximum 200 PSI. So there is a dedicated short video on this one, but at the time I actually didn't need to bead any tires. So if you're looking for more information on the Tubi Booster X, you can find that video on my channel elsewhere. So let's get to it. Also, bit of a plug as well. Wheel is retorqued back on the forks using the Topeak Torque Stick Pro kit. This is the 4 to 20 Newton meter, and there's a video about these kits on there. In my opinion, these are the best bicycle torque kits on the market. So let's get at it. So first things first, let's go ahead and reinsert the valve here back in to, or the valve core, I should say, into the valve. ensuring that the valve core is still open. We'll just torque it down with the PD's valve cap. I love this stuff. It's part of the reason why I like so much the 1UP Components EDC tool. But yeah, I just love that you know, you can have parts integrated into other parts, multi-use. I think that's just great. What we will do is we will inflate the tire and get it to beat on first. We'll drain the pressure, remove the core, add the sealant after, because what I don't want to do is add the sealant now and then maybe the tire pops off and then we're gonna have sealant go everywhere. So let's beat it first. So we will just take the working end of the Tubi Booster X. Now, of course, this would probably work a lot easier with the bike on the ground, but for, you know, illustrative purposes. On the top, we have it in the charge. All we're gonna do is just flick it over to the inflate, and we're not gonna stand directly right next to it. So here we go. Still needs to seat over here. Remove this. What I may do here is just charge up the Tubi Booster X again. Can't really manipulate it. I think that's only going to be solved with more pressure. It's the same on the other side, so we could also manually just keep pumping it up until we get enough pressure, but this is fun to do. So I'm going to do that, and then I will rejoin you in a minute. I think that's going to do it. Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll bleed it down and then we will add the PD's sealant. So set that there. Add our valve cap. All right. And give our PD sealant a bit of a shake here, just to mix up all the small particles in it. And see if we can do this without spilling any. How deep will that push in there? Not super deep, but pretty good. Oh, there's like a little plastic ring there. Get every last little drop I can. There we go. Ooh. Got some on my fingers here. So what's nice is on the bottom of these PD valve stems there is like a 4-way cut in them, and that is designed to allow, if you're running any tire inserts like cush cores or whatnot, those tire inserts would normally sit up at the bottom like orifice of the valve stem. Well, with the 2 channels, it allows any tire sealant to be inserted and it will flow around that. So though I don't run any tire inserts, it is nice to know that that is all set to go. So from here, we will just pump up to our desired temperature, desired pressure, and go hit the trail. So I'll go ahead and do that now, and next time you'll see me, we'll be out and we're gonna test out this MaxxGrip compound. I'm actually genuinely looking forward to it. So let's get at it. All right, we are here at the top of Contra, Fernie's Flow Trail, according to the really nice signage. Thank you to the folks who shuttled me up, greatly appreciated. I cannot describe to you how perfect of a day it is right now. I hope that you can see kind of like out over in the distance there, just how nice everything is. It's probably 17 degrees Celsius right now, light breeze, kind of that warm, dry, right on the edge of fall temperatures. So Yeah, the purpose, you know, that we're here for is to test out this front tire. However, a caveat, I have never ridden Contra. This is a black trail. It does turn into Trail Dogs, which is a blue trail, but I've never ridden either. So I will not be sending, I don't think, the majority of the jumps. But so yeah, it's we're going to be focusing on cornering performance and in that front end to see if, you know, the confidence level has increased a little bit. So have a quick drink of water and then head on our way. Ooh. Holy smokes, that one's big. Okay. Whew, thought that was a drop. Holy smokes. That was scary. Big hip. I can feel already I'm able to lean the bike in the corners more than I would have. So there's kind of, I'm trying to learn to trust again. Oh, geez. This is a trail that you'd really need to know coming over some of these jumps, you know, knowing that they're hips and not necessarily straight jumps. All right, squeeze through. Thank you, thank you. Appreciate it. Enjoy your day. Yep. All right, so this is the Trail Dogs component. A blue trail, definitely more to my abilities. You know, a desire to be able to ride some of the black trails, but you know, it's kind of like a return on investment sort of thing, risk rewards. That's it. And whoops. Taste that. Taste that too. Oh, jeez. We rolled over a big rock. Whew. That's better. Whee! not sure if I'm feeling nostalgic, just given the aesthetics of the time of year, because gosh darn, it's pretty right now. But this is a really lovely climb trail. It's there's no steep gradients, smooth rolling. There's been a ton of surface runoff mitigation efforts. Kudos to the architects and trail builders. I say that as it steepens up a little bit, but yeah, not bad. There is some flagging tape here, and what looks to be a climb trail. Oh, I think that's it. Continue over there. Here we are again. That is really a wonderful climb trail. Once more, kudos. Look at these trail puppies. Dedicated to all the good dogs who love chasing their best friend down a mountain. Your stoke, companionship, and love make every ride special. Looks like a poodle doodle. Some kind of a hound puppy. Aussie, maybe? Oh, look at that scrub. Very cool. All right, here we go. Second run down Trail Dogs. Keeping in mind, I still really have no idea. Oops, clip in there, Colin. There we go. Really have no idea where I'm going still. So this will be my re-ride essentially. Very bumpy. Oh, it's offline again. See, it's that gravel stuff that scares the bejesus out of me. And blind turns like that, where you just don't know what's coming up. I mean, that was a nice one. Whew. Oh, short-lived. Whew. All right, so that's wrapping up today in Fernie with testing out the new front tire. Safe to say, huge improvement, a lot more than I thought there was going to be. On the climb trail, I didn't actually notice any rolling resistance that's different, but on the descents, it's significant, to the point where I'm basically going to have to kind of like recalibrate the way that I ride as I learn to trust the front end a little bit more as I push into corners and want it to hold my line a bit better.
overall 100% improvement. I am glad that I have now also a spare tire that I can throw on if needs be, but it has me wondering about going to a MaxxGrip in the rear as well, knowing that I'm going to get significantly less lifespan out of it, especially, you know, if there's any kind of like skidding through corners or on rough terrain and on the climbs. So I think that would be an experiment worth doing at some point in the future, where I do like some back-to-back testing with a MaxxGrip and a MaxxTerra on the climb trails, because that interview that you would have seen last week, you were discussing how on the climbs, the majority of the weight is directly or, you know, just about over that rear tire. And so with a MaxxGrip, you will increase your wear rate, and maybe you would increase or decrease rather the speed, or increase the rolling resistance. So that's the experiment that I'd maybe like to do at some point in the future. Until then, thank you very much for watching. I always do sincerely appreciate it. I'm just waiting for some food here in Fernie. I'm gonna watch the sun set over the mountains and then make my way back home. So until next week, you take care. Bye for now.